I never thought watching someone get torn apart in public would change my life. But that Wednesday night at Bellevue's Cafe, sitting in my usual corner with a cold cup of coffee and a fake spreadsheet on my screen, everything shifted in a way I did not see coming. I was there like I was most weeknights, hiding from my empty apartment. I told people I liked working in cafes because it made me more productive. Truth was, I just hated the quiet at home. My name is Marcus Chin. I am 35. I work in cybersecurity at Russo Innovations in Seattle. My job is to make sure nobody breaks into our systems, and if they try, they regret it. Most days I am invisible. People know my email, not my face. If their passwords stop working, they know me. If everything is fine, they forget I exist. I used to be married. 4 years ago, my wife left because, in her words, I was too steady, too boring, too safe. She said she wanted adventure, not a guy who paid bills on time and remembered trash day. She left for a guy with a motorcycle and big plans that never went anywhere. By the time those crashed, she had already moved on again. Bellevue's became my spot after that. Soft music, warm lights, the smell of baked bread and coffee. A place to sit with my laptop and pretend my life was busy. That night, I was halfway through pretending to fix a server issue that did not really need fixing when the room changed. Elena Russo walked in. When your CEO shows up in your favorite cafe, you notice. Everyone does. She usually walks into the office in sharp suits and heels that sound like a warning on the tile. Dark hair pulled back. Eyes that miss nothing. She built Russo Innovations from nothing and made it into something big. People in the industry talk about her like she is a storm you do not want to be on the wrong side of. But that night, she did not look like a storm. She wore dark jeans and a simple black sweater. Her hair was down, no makeup that I could see. She looked tired. Not the "I had a long day" kind of tired. The kind that looks like it has been there for a while. She picked a booth near the back, away from everyone. Ordered tea. Sat with her hands around the cup, staring at it like it might tell her what to do next. I told myself to look away. Bosses have lives. I did not need to know anything about hers. Then he walked in. Tall, perfect hair, expensive watch, suit that screamed money. He did not wait to be invited. He slid into the booth across from her like he owned the place. She did not smile. She said something I could not hear. He laughed, loud enough that people turned their heads for a second and then went back to their own nights. I tried to focus on my screen, but my eyes kept going back to them. At first, their voices were low, just part of the background noise. Then his got louder. "Let's be honest about your situation," he said. I looked up. Elena's shoulders were stiff. Her fingers were wrapped tight around her cup. "You're 48, he said, like he was reading off a report. "That's too old for any man who is actually worth your time." The spoon in my hand stopped moving. The noise in the cafe faded into a distant hum. "Successful men your age want women in their 30s, he went on. "Women who still look good in swimsuits. Women who can give them kids if they decide they want a second family. You cannot compete with that anymore." Elena did not react. Her face was calm, the same calm she used in board meetings when bad news landed on the table, but her knuckles were white against the porcelain. "And younger men?" he said, actually laughing. "Come on. What 30-year-old wants a woman almost 50? They want to build something, have kids, start fresh. You are past all that. You're done." It felt like watching someone get hit and not being able to move. Part of me wanted to stand up and shout at him. Another part told me to mind my business. She is your boss. She does not need you. Stay out of it. He reached into his wallet and dropped some bills on the table. "You're stuck in this sad middle," he said, standing. "Not young enough for men who matter. Not old enough to stop caring. My advice, get a dog. Learn to be okay being alone." Then he walked out. No goodbye, no glance back. Elena stayed exactly where she was. The coffee machine hissed behind the counter. Someone laughed near the door. A kid dropped a spoon and it clattered across the floor. Life kept moving while she sat there, staring at her tea. She lifted the cup with shaking hands, took a small sip, and set it back down. Her face was still calm. But I saw something in her eyes that I recognized too well. I had seen it in my bathroom mirror at 2 in the morning when my marriage was ending. The look of someone who has heard the same lie so many times they are starting to believe it. I closed my laptop. My hands were shaking. This was a bad idea. She was my CEO. There were rules about this kind of thing, I was sure. If anyone from work saw us, I might spend Monday in HR. But I was so tired of letting people like that guy say whatever they wanted while everyone pretended not to hear. Tired of watching pain and turning away. So I stood up. I walked to her booth like my shoes were made of concrete. She did not notice me until I was right there. Up close, she looked even more tired. Not messy, not broken, just worn down. "Ms. Russo," I said. My voice came out softer than I meant. "Are you okay?" She looked up fast, surprised. For a second, the mask dropped. I saw hurt, sharp and bright, before she pulled the cool CEO expression back into place. "Mr. Chin," she said, "from cybersecurity, right?" "Yes," I said. "5th floor. I fixed your laptop last month." "I remember," she said. "I'm fine." "Thank you." "No offense," I said, the words leaving my mouth before I could stop them, "but you don't look fine." Silence stretched between us. My heart hammered. I had just told my boss she did not look okay in the middle of a coffee shop. She studied my face like she was trying to figure out what I wanted. Then her shoulders dropped a little. I suppose I am not fine," she said quietly. I slid into the booth across from her without asking. It was the bravest thing I had done in years. Or the stupidest. Maybe both. I heard what he said. I told her. Every word. He was wrong. She let out a breath that sounded like it had been trapped for hours. "You do not have to do this," she said. "I am used to people like him." "That might be the saddest thing I have heard all week," I said. Her eyes widened, just a little. "You should not have to get used to being treated like that," I said. "That is not honesty. That is cruelty. There is a difference." She wrapped her hands around her cup again, but her grip was looser now. "Why do you care?" she asked. "We barely know each other." "Because I know what it feels like to be told you are not enough. Because I have heard those same words in different forms for years. Because watching someone say them to you made me want to break something. Because I am human," I said instead. "Because I saw someone hurt you. And I could not just sit there and pretend I didn't." Something in her gaze softened. For the first time since I started working at Russo, Elena Russo was not my CEO in that moment. She was just a person sitting in a booth, trying not to fall apart. And I had no idea that crossing that short distance from my table to hers was the first step into a story that would change both of our lives. Up close, she looked different than she did behind a boardroom table, smaller somehow. More real. The kind of real that made my chest feel tight. "Who was he?" I asked. She hesitated. "Someone who thinks he is doing me a favor," she said finally. "An investor. Old friend of my ex-husband. He claimed he was, giving me perspective." Quote, "That was not perspective," I said. "That was an attack." She gave a small, tired smile. "You are very sure for someone who almost never talks in meetings." "You notice that?" "I notice everything," she said. "I know who solves problems and who only talks about them. You are in the first group." That should not have meant as much as it did. But it did. We sat there for a minute while the noise of the cafe washed around us. My coffee was cold now. Her tea had gone lukewarm. "I used to be married," I said, surprising myself. I did not plan to tell her that. 4 years ago, she left. Quote, something in Elena's face changed, softer again. "Why?" "She said I was too predictable," I said. "Too safe. She wanted excitement, adventure. Someone who would wake up one day and decide to move to Bali or start a band or something." Elena's eyebrow lifted. "Do you own a guitar?" "No," I said. "I own a vacuum and a toolbox and a calendar app." She let out a small laugh. It was quick but real. She told me once that nice guys finish last, and I was the nicest guy she knew, I added. She did not mean it as a compliment. "That is cruel," Elena said. I shrugged. "Maybe." But it stuck. Makes you wonder if being steady just makes you forgettable. It should not, she said. The world runs because of steady people. People like you. I looked at her over the table. What about you? I asked. You said you are used to people like him. Why? She stared into her tea for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was calm, but I could hear something under it. My marriage ended 9 years ago, she said. We tried to have children. It did not work. The problem was mine. At least, that is what the doctors said. She took a breath. After a while, my husband decided he did not want to keep trying, she said. He wanted a family. He said he had to be realistic about time and explore other options. That is the phrase he used. Explore other options. Like he was talking about a business deal. My chest hurt just hearing it. He left, she said. He remarried. His new wife is younger. They have 2 kids now. I see their perfect family photos online sometimes when I am dumb enough to scroll too far. I built a company instead. It was easier to be Elena Russo, CEO, than the woman whose body did not do what it was supposed to do. There was no drama in the way she said it. That made it worse. I am sorry, I said. It felt small compared to what she had just told me, but it was real. She lifted one shoulder. It is old news, she said. But when people like him say I am too old, too late, used up, some part of me listens, even when I know better. You are not used up, I said. The words came out more intense than I meant. You built something huge. You gave hundreds of people jobs. You care about the company more than anyone. You are not done. Not in any way. Her eyes met mine. For a second, the strong, sharp CEO was gone. In her place was a woman who just needed someone to believe in her. Most people do not talk to me like this, she said. They are scared of you, I said honestly. Are you? I thought about it. Sometimes, I said, but not right now. That made her laugh. This time, the sound was warmer. It reached her eyes and made thin lines appear at the corners. I liked those lines. They looked like proof she had lived. What is your first name? She asked. Not Mr. Chin from cybersecurity. Quote, Marcus, I said. Marcus, she repeated, like she was testing it. I am Elena, in case you missed the giant logo with my last name on the building. Hard to miss, I said. Your face is on the lobby wall. She made a face. I hate that picture, she said. They made me smile for 4 hours for that shoot. My face hurt for 2 days. You could have used a photo of you yelling at the board, I said. Much more accurate branding. Her mouth dropped open a little. I do not yell, she said. You raise your voice in a focused way. I corrected. She laughed again, covering her mouth with her hand. The cafe had started to empty out. Chairs looked lonely. A barista wiped down the counter and glanced our way like they were counting minutes to closing. I should let you go, I said. It is late. Elena looked at her watch, then at me. She did not move. Marcus, she said slowly, thank you for coming over, for saying what you did. You did not have to. You did not have to let me sit down, I replied. So I guess we are both breaking habits tonight. She looked at me with that sharp, reading look again. The one I had seen in meetings when she decided who she could trust. Do you come here a lot? She asked. Couple of nights a week, I said. My apartment gets too quiet. It is easier to be alone around other people than alone by yourself. That makes sense, she said quietly. My penthouse is big. 3 bedrooms, high ceilings, a view of the water. Some nights it feels like an empty jar, and I am just the marble rolling around. It was a good image. It sat between us for a second. Heavy. We do not have to be alone all the time, you know, I said before I could stop myself. She tilted her head. I mean, I added quickly, if you ever want to grab coffee when it is not a crisis or a rude guy destroying your night, I am here a lot. That is all I meant. Her lips curved into a small smile. You are asking your CEO out for coffee, Marcus, she said. Just as 2 people who hate quiet apartments, I said. You can fire me if the coffee is bad. She thought for a second, like she was weighing risk and reward the way she probably did with million-dollar deals. I like this cafe, she said. Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. If you are here, we will have coffee. If not, I will assume you changed your mind, and we will go back to being CEO and cybersecurity." My heart kicked. "I will be here," I said. Her smile grew a little. "Good. Then I will see you Saturday or Monday, depending which version of us shows up." We walked out together. In the parking lot, she went to a clean silver hybrid that matched her neat, controlled image. I went to my older sedan with a dent in the back bumper. "Good night, Marcus," she said, hand on her car door. "Good night, Elena," I said. She drove away. I stood there under the parking lot lights for a long time, keys in my hand, wondering what exactly I had just stepped into. The next 2 days at work were strange, in a way I could not explain. I saw her in the hallway talking to the CFO. She nodded at me as I passed, professional and calm, but there was a tiny flicker in her eyes that had not been there before. In a meeting on Friday, she asked my opinion on a security proposal in front of everyone. She had never done that before. When I finished, she said, "Good point, Marcus. Let us add that to the plan." Hearing my first name in that room made my ears burn. No one else seemed to notice. Or maybe they did, and decided to file it away for later gossip. By the time Saturday came, I had almost convinced myself she would not show. People like her did not get coffee with people like me. CEOs did not keep casual plans with mid-level tech guys they barely knew. Still, I was at Bellevue's by 9:30. I picked a table by the window, ordered 2 drinks, 1 black coffee for me, 1 latte with oat milk and 1 sugar for her. She had ordered that the first night I fixed her laptop. Details stick in my head whether I want them to or not. At 9:59, the bell over the door rang. Elena walked in wearing jeans, white sneakers, and a soft gray sweatshirt. Her hair was loose around her shoulders. She looked younger and softer and somehow even more powerful like that. Her eyes found me at once. And when she smiled, it was not the polite CEO smile I had seen 100 times. It was warm and a little unsure. "Good," she said, walking over. "You showed up." "I told you I would," I said. "You are predictable," she said, sliding into the seat across from me. "In a good way." I pushed the latte toward her. "I took a wild guess," I said. "Tea at night, coffee in the morning." She stared at the cup, then at me. Something unreadable moved across her face. "Observant," she said quietly. "That is a very useful trait, Marcus." Quote, "If I had known then how much that 1 coffee would change our lives, I might have been more afraid. Instead, I just wrapped my hands around my mug, looked at my CEO sitting across from me in a sweatshirt, and tried to ignore the strange, new feeling in my chest that felt a lot like hope. If someone had told me a month before that I would start looking forward to Saturdays with my CEO, I would have laughed, but after that first coffee, Saturdays became our thing. We started simple, coffee at Bellevue's, sometimes breakfast too if we both had time. We talked about everything except work at first, families, books, movies we pretended to like but secretly hated. She told me she grew up in New Jersey with 3 older sisters who never let her forget she was the youngest. I told her about my small town in Oregon where everyone knew everyone's business, and I could not wait to leave. During the week, at the office, we kept things professional. She called me Marcus more often, but always in a way that could be explained. I was still our security lead in front of the board. I still spent most of my time in server rooms, staring at code and logs, but now, when I saw her walking through the halls, something in my chest tightened. When she caught my eye and gave the smallest hint of a smile, my whole day felt different. One Saturday, maybe 3 weeks after that first coffee, we ended up staying at Bellevue's until the lunch crowd started to push in. The noise grew and the line at the counter doubled. "Want to get out of here?" she asked, glancing around. "Sure," I said. "Where do you want to go?" Quote. She hesitated. "You could see my place," she said, "unless that would be strange." My brain yelled that it absolutely would be strange. My mouth said, "Okay." Her penthouse was across town, high up in one of those glass buildings with a view of the water. The elevator ride felt too quiet. When we stepped inside her place, I understood what she meant about it not feeling like home. It was beautiful but cold. Clean lines, expensive furniture, big windows. No photos. No messy stacks of books. No blanket left on the back of the couch. It looked like a furniture ad. "You can say it," she said, taking off her jacket. "It feels like a hotel." "A nice one," I said. "But yeah, little." She laughed, but there was a sad note in it. "I bought it after the divorce," she said. "I told myself I'd make it mine." Then the company grew, and I moved my life into the office instead. We sat at her kitchen island while she made coffee. No fancy machine, just a simple drip pot. That surprised me. "I thought you'd have some high-end espresso thing," I said. "I do," she said, pointing at a shiny machine in the corner. "Someone gave it to me. I never read the manual. This is easier." It was a small thing, but it made her feel closer, less like the powerful woman whose picture was in magazines, more like a person who also stood in the kitchen in the middle of the night, waiting for a simple pot of coffee to finish. We carried our cups to the couch, sat at opposite ends at first. Somehow, over an hour, we ended up closer, not touching, just less space. "Do you miss it?" I asked. "Being married." Quote. She looked out the window for a moment before answering. "I miss having someone to talk to at the end of the day," she said. "Someone who knows my small stories, not just the big ones. I do not miss feeling like a problem someone is trying to solve." I nodded. I knew that feeling too well. "What about you?" she asked. "Do you miss being married?" "I miss having someone who knows my routine," I said. "Who knows? I like toast a little burned and that I talk to the TV during games. I do not miss feeling like I am always one step away from being replaced by someone more exciting." She gave me a look that made me feel seen in a way I had not felt in years. "Your ex was wrong," she said. "Steady is not boring, it is rare." We sat in that quiet for a while. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. "The board wants to meet with me next month," she said. "A private session, no agenda listed." "That sounds loaded," I said. "They have been making comments," she said, "about needing fresh energy and younger vision. They think I do not hear the way they say it, but I do. I always do." "You built the company," I said, "from the ground up." "They know that." "The truth does not always matter when people decide a number defines you," she said. 48 used to feel like proof that I survived. Lately, it feels like a mark against me." I put my coffee down. "They are idiots if they cannot see what you still bring," I said. "Age did not write the code. You did. Age did not close deals. You did." She smiled, small but real. "You make it sound simple." "It is simple," I said. "They are lucky to have you. That is a fact." Not a compliment. Her eyes went soft again. I had to look away before I said something I could not take back. After that, things moved faster. We started seeing each other outside work more often. Sometimes it was coffee. Sometimes a walk through the park. Once, a quiet dinner at a small Italian place where she ordered extra bread and stole half my dessert without asking. I liked that she felt comfortable enough to do that. At work, we were careful. No touching. No long talks in her office with the door closed. People already loved gossip. We did not need to give them more. One Thursday night, after a brutal day of patching a security hole, I was packing up to leave when my phone buzzed. "Elena, are you free?" "Me, depends. Is this a boss text or an Elena text?" Her reply came fast. "Elena, Elena, my kitchen is a disaster. Come help me fix it. I will feed you." I stared at the screen, smiled, and grabbed my jacket. Her kitchen was, in fact, a disaster. Pots, pans, flour on the counter. She wore leggings and an oversized sweater, her hair pulled up in a messy knot. I had never seen her like that. It did something strange and pleasant to my brain. "I tried to bake," she said. "Turns out reading a recipe is not the same as reading a financial report." "We cannot be good at everything," I said. "Tell that to my ego," she replied. We cooked together, nothing fancy. Pasta again. This time I helped. We moved around each other easily, passing things back and forth, brushing shoulders, laughing when she dropped a spoon. After dinner, we ended up on the couch. Closer this time. Shoulders touching. "Marcus," she said quietly, "what are we doing?" I looked at her. The room felt smaller all of a sudden. "What do you mean?" I asked. "I am your CEO," she said. "You are one of my department heads. We are spending nights together in my home. We both know what this looks like if anyone finds out." "I know," I said. Her hand twisted in her lap. "Part of me thinks I should end this now," she said, "before it becomes a problem." "And the other part?" I asked. She looked at me with an honesty that hit hard. "The other part feels more alive with you than I have in years," she said. "Like I am not just a woman who works and goes home to an empty apartment. Like I am allowed to want things for myself again." My heart pounded. I could hear it in my ears. "I cannot tell you what to do as your employee," I said slowly, "but as a man who is sitting here, who cares about you, who thinks about you, even when he is supposed to be fixing servers, I do not want this to end." "You are not scared?" she asked. "I am terrified," I said, "but I am more scared of going back to the way things were, walking past you in the hallway and pretending I do not feel what I feel." The room went quiet. The only sound was the hum of the fridge and our breathing. She reached out and took my hand. Her fingers were warm. "I have not let myself fall for anyone since my marriage ended," she said softly. It felt safer to stay in control, to be the person running the room, not the one risking their heart. "What about now?" I asked. She took a slow breath. "Now I am sitting on my couch holding your hand," she said, "and I do not feel in control at all." She leaned in and kissed me. It was careful at first, like she was not sure if she was allowed. Then deeper, like she had decided to stop asking permission. My hand went to her cheek. Her fingers tightened in mine. When we pulled back, her forehead rested against mine. "This is a bad idea," she whispered. "I know," I said. "Do you want to stop?" Quote. She shook her head just once. "No," she said, "I really do not." Whatever lines had existed between CEO and employee blurred that night. We did not cross every boundary at once, but we crossed enough that things could never go back to the way they were. The next morning, we sat at her table with coffee, both of us still in yesterday's clothes. Sunlight poured through the windows, making the place look less like a hotel and more like a home. "What about work?" I asked. "We will be careful," she said. "We will figure it out." That might have worked if the universe had not decided to test us right away. 3 days later, at 5:30 in the morning, my phone exploded with alerts. Our main servers were down. Client systems were timing out. Alarms from every direction. I threw on clothes and raced to the office. When I arrived, the building lights were already on. Elena was there, hair pulled back, blazer thrown over jeans, phone pressed to her ear as she walked the hallway. Our eyes met for half a second. There was worry there. Not just for the company. For me. For us. "Go," she mouthed, pointing toward the server room. I did. For the next 12 hours, my world shrank to screens and code and error logs. Something ugly had hit our system. Big and fast. Not a simple bug. Something closer to an attack. My team moved around me, tired and scared. People from other departments kept trying to poke their heads in. I pushed them out. I did not have time to calm them down. Around 8 that night, the door opened again. I was ready to snap at whoever it was. Then I saw her. Elena walked in holding a paper bag and 2 coffees. "You should not be in here," I said. "It is freezing," and loud. "I brought food," she said simply. "You can yell at me after you eat." She sat in the chair next to me like she belonged there. And as I looked at her, in that humming cold room full of wires and blinking lights, one thing became very clear. Whatever was about to happen with the servers, the board, the gossip we both knew was coming, I was already in too deep to pretend this was anything less than real. She set the food on the desk and looked at the mess of screens and cables around us. "How bad is it?" she asked. "Bad," I said. "Not hopeless, but bad." "Someone tried to lock us out of our own systems. I stopped the first wave. I am still fighting the rest." "Can I do anything?" she asked. "Stay out of trouble with the board," I said. "That would help." Her mouth tugged in a small, tired smile. "Too late for that," she said. "They called an emergency meeting for tomorrow morning. They think this proves I have lost control. Anger flared in my chest. Because a hacker tried to hit us? That is insane. They are looking for excuses, she said. Age, direction, now this. Then give me till morning, I said. If we walk in there, with everything back online and proof we stopped the attack, that meeting will feel different. She watched me for a long moment. You are sure you can fix this? She asked. No, I said, but I'm going to try. She nodded once. Then I am staying, she said. If you are here, I am here. We worked side by side all night. I dug into code. She answered calls from clients and calmed panicked managers. At one point, she fell asleep in the extra chair, head tilted back, still holding her phone. I kept going. By 6 in the morning, my eyes burned and my hands hurt. But the last piece of the attack broke. Systems came back one after another. Green lights lined up on the dashboard where red had been. I sat back and rubbed my face. We are clear, I said. Elena jerked awake. We are up? She asked. Everything is back online, I said. Data safe, clients safe. We took a pretty hard shot, but we did not fall. She stood and walked over to the main screen, staring at the numbers like she did with company reports. This is good work, she said softly. Very good. Use it, I said. Take the logs, take the reports, make them see the truth. The board meeting is in 3 hours, she said. Can you help me prepare? I was dead tired, but I nodded. Of course. We went up to her office. The rest of the building was still quiet. Morning light came through the glass walls as we built a story together. I pulled reports from the attack. Timelines. Blocked attempts. Recovery times. She pulled financials and growth charts from the last few years. We stacked proof on proof that the company was not broken, that she was not past her prime, that what happened in the night was not weakness but strength. Around 8:30, she closed her laptop and rubbed her eyes. If this does not work, she said, they will push me out. They have wanted to for a while. This gives them a reason. Then we show them that reason does not hold up, I said. You have earned better than this. She set her hand on my shoulder for a second. Whatever happens in that room, I want you to hear this first, she said. Last night, in the middle of the worst crisis we have had in years, I felt something I have not felt in a long time. Not fear, not doubt. What did you feel? I asked. Safe, she said, because you were here. My throat went tight. I covered it with a smile. Go make them regret underestimating you, I said. She laughed softly and straightened her jacket. When she walked out, she was the CEO again, back straight, stride sure. But I could still feel her hand on my shoulder. At 9, she went into the boardroom. I was not supposed to be there. I waited outside, pacing the hall, staring at the carpet pattern until it blurred. Half an hour later, the door opened. One of the board members walked past me without a word. Another looked annoyed. A third looked thoughtful. Then Elena stepped out. Her eyes found mine. For a second, she kept the CEO face. Then it broke into a grin. Well? I asked. They tried, she said. They talked about fresh leadership and image. I showed them numbers. I showed them what we built. I showed them what we stopped last night. And, I said, and they backed down, she said. They offered to support my continued vision for the company. I made them say it twice so I could enjoy it. Relief rushed through me so fast my knees almost gave out. You did that, I said. We did that, she said. You gave me proof. I gave it a voice. Almost without thinking, I reached for her hand. She let me take it, right there in the hallway, then dropped it quickly when someone turned the corner. Careful, she said softly. The walls have eyes here. Quote, that was the day we stopped pretending what we had was something small. That afternoon we went to HR together. Mrs. Patterson, our HR head, listened as Elena explained. I am in a relationship with one of my department heads, Elena said. His name is Marcus. We have kept things professional at work, but I want to make sure we follow policy. Mrs. Patterson did not flinch, but her eyes sharpened. Company policy does not allow direct reporting relationships in romantic situations, she said. There are ethics rules about that. What if he reported to someone else? Elena asked. To our CTO instead of to me? That would satisfy the rule, Mrs. Patterson said slowly, as long as the reporting change is real. He cannot still be taking direct orders from you. He already works closely with Daniel, Elena said. We can formalize that. I do not want to hide. I want to do this the right way. Mrs. Patterson watched us both. Then she nodded. I will draft the paperwork, she said. Be ready for rumors. People like stories better than facts. We know, I said. The reporting change went through the next week. My email signature changed. My boss on paper became Daniel Park, our CTO. My real life stayed tied to Elena. The rumors started fast. Whispers in halls. Conversations that stopped when I walked into a room. One morning I found a note on my desk. No name, just a line written in messy ink. She must really like you. Or you are just very good at kissing up. I crumpled it and threw it away. I did not tell Elena. I did not want to add to the weight she carried. But she found out anyway. Someone sent an anonymous email to the board hinting that she was giving me special treatment. The board forwarded it to her. She forwarded it to me with one sentence. We knew this would happen. That night, at her place, she paced the living room. Maybe this was selfish, she said. Maybe I should have kept my life and my work separate. Is that what you really think? I asked. She stopped and looked at me. No, she said. I think we deserve this. But I hate that it gives people ammunition. We changed the reporting, I said. We are not breaking rules. If people would rather believe gossip than read policy, we cannot fix that. She let out a breath. I just do not want to hurt your career, she said. You did not, I said. I did my job long before we had coffee. I will keep doing it. Let them watch. Let them wonder. I am not ashamed of standing next to you. Her shoulders relaxed. You always know what to say, you know that? She asked. I wing it, I said. Do not stop, she replied. The noise started to fade after a while. It helped that 3 months later, we stopped another attack. This one, bigger, louder, and very public. A group tried to lock our data and demand money. We shut them down in an hour. After that, people started talking less about who I was dating and more about the fact that their paychecks were safe because our systems were safe. A year after that first night in Bellevue's, Elena asked me to move in. We were on her couch, feet up, some old movie playing. A bowl of popcorn sat between us. This place still feels too big for one person, she said, but it feels less big when you are here. I do not want your stuff to live in a different zip code anymore. Move in with me. I did not need to think about it. Yes, I said, I want that too. My books filled her empty shelves. My photos went on her walls. My old mug ended up next to her neat row of glasses in the kitchen. Her perfect penthouse slowly turned into our slightly messy home. At work, I got promoted to Director of Cybersecurity. Daniel gave me the news with a handshake and a grin. You earned this, he said. You work harder than anyone here. Do not let anyone tell you this came from anything but skill. Some people still whispered. Most did not. They saw the late nights. They saw the results. Over time, the story shifted from, why would she be with him, to, they make a good team. 14 months after that first night at the cafe, I bought a ring. I told myself I would wait for the perfect moment. Some grand gesture. Fancy restaurant, rooftop with lights, something worthy of her. Instead, the moment came on a quiet Thursday. We had both had long days. We ate takeout on the couch and watched the rain hit the windows. She was in sweatpants and one of my old college shirts. Her hair was up. She had taken off her makeup hours ago. She looked over at me, eyes soft, and said, I never thought I would get this again, someone who comes home to me. Someone who still looks at me like I am not too late. Before my brain could catch up, I was on one knee on the living room rug, pulling the ring from my pocket. Elena, I said. My voice shook. You were never too late. Not for love. Not for this. You are the bravest, strongest, kindest person I know. You saw me when I thought I was invisible. You believed in me when I thought I was just the guy in the server room. Will you marry me?" Her hand flew to her mouth. Her eyes filled fast. "Marcus," she whispered, "they said I was done. They said I would end alone." "They were wrong," I said. "Say yes, and we prove it." She nodded, tears running down her face, and said, "Yes, of course." Yes. We got married 8 months later in a small garden just outside the city. 70 people, friends, family. A few coworkers who had become real parts of our lives. No huge show, just real vows under a wide sky. In her speech, Elena told everyone she had believed her chance at love was over, that she had accepted being only a CEO, not a woman someone could fall for again. Then a man from the 5th floor walked up to her in a cafe and reminded her she was still worth choosing. In mine, I said I had spent years thinking being steady and kind meant I would always finish last, that I would always be the safe choice, never the first choice. Then I watched someone get hurt in public and decided I could not stay in my corner anymore. One walk across a room changed everything. Now, when I sit in that same booth at Bellevue's and open my laptop, it feels different. Sometimes Elena sits across from me in jeans and a sweater, bare face, no mask, sipping her tea. People still look when she walks in. She is still the CEO. She still fills a room. But now, when they glance at us, they see something else too. They see a woman who was not supposed to fall in love again. They see the quiet guy she chose anyway. They never expected my CEO to fall in love again, especially with me. But she did. And out of everyone in her world, somehow, she chose me back.